Hey, how's it going? Hey, Grant, we can't hear your sound. How's it going, everybody? You there? Try talking, Grant. No, I can't hear anything. Oh, so welcome, everybody. I guess this is our second episode. You can see we're doing technical
Can you hear me now?
difficulties, but we'll figure it out. This week, Chance is actually going. He has a talk up at Guapa,
I don't think it works.
so he's not going to be here this week. There you go. Here he is.
Oh, you can hear me?
I heard you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, no, this isn't episode 2. This is going to be impromptu. We're going to save episode 2 for
all of
Chance's
us.
channel. That's what I said in the beginning. Oh, Jesus. I guess I should have turned on chat right away. But no, basically, I did the intro and introduced me and Shelby. And then I basically said, Chance is speaking tomorrow morning. He has a really, or not tomorrow, but the next day, this weekend for the Greater Washington Aquarium Society. And he's got a really early flight tomorrow night. So it wasn't feasible for him to do his live stream, let alone on his channel. So episode 2 will be next week. And I thought we'd do like a little impromptu stream with yourself. Man, I didn't wear my Aquachar shirt because I thought you would wear it. Oh, man, maybe I'll go throw it back.
I got my hat.
Yeah, I need a hat, man. Did I get a hat? I don't think I never got a hat.
I'm gonna make some hats here soon. I had a lot.
Oh man, you got to get your internet connection fixed here soon.
I just ran inside and moved it. For some reason, my extender's not working today. So,
well, I'm gonna run you a cord and just give you the because we don't need this long cord anymore. But yeah, so I thought maybe we'd do a little live stream. Shelby, you want to get started and say hi to everybody in chat?
I saw Lefty was here. How you doing?
He's probably already gone. He's down for the night quite early. Until summer though, and then he'll have more time.
And how you doing, Crypt Keeper Aquatics and Dark River Aquatics? Kevin Tam, how you doing? And the Nano Aquarium guy, how you guys doing?
You need to take care of him, please, before he becomes a problem. But so I figured we talk about some Aquachar and then dive into some answers and then do some little scaping. You said you were going to get to that tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
So why don't we talk about Aquachar real
tonight?
quick?
We're going to play around and kind of go through the process.
You want to talk about Aquachar first?
Yeah. So, actually, I don't even. This is something different. My product is Aquachar. So what we are is what that means is we do like the adsorption, which is the yellowing of the water. So we give you the clarity that way. But we also kind of act like Uber Eats for your bacteria. So it's meant for long-term use instead of like activated carbon where you throw it in there and it lasts for like a couple weeks and then you throw it away. Aquachar, you add new to the existing and you build up that biological balance and stability as you maintain your clarity. It lasts for, we usually say, add new to the existing every 3 to 6 months, but a lot of people find their balance in their system, and their maintenance schedule is basically once a month, rinse it off. And then, if you need it, you can do a regeneration of hydrogen peroxide, then you air dry it outside and put it back in your system. So it's meant for the life of your aquarium. It's more like it does 2/3 of your filtration needs. So it does both the chemical filtration, which is, Grant can attest to that. I'm sure you can tell the story. And then it also does the biological breakdown. So because we're using carbon as a biomedia, it basically brings the bacteria. I say, I guess we're late enough. I don't have to look over my shoulder for kids, but bacteria is lazy just like me. It only wants to eat and reproduce. So what we do with Aquachar is we're kind of producing that optimal environment for biological consumption. So it speeds up as you input your foods and your waste, your animals put waste in your system. It speeds up that breakdown of the organics and releasing of biologically available nutrients. So it helps with your overall growth of your aquarium.
Real quick before you answer this question, you did break up a little bit. One of the important parts that I think you broke up on, where the carbon lasts for only 3 or so weeks. The Aquachar is supposed to be replaced every 3 to 6 weeks, but you said people find that it lasts in their tanks for how long, and then you broke up.
So it's actually meant for the entire lifespan of your aquarium. What you add new to the existing, and once it's full, you can either take that and start a new. Go ahead and put it in your garden or house plants or something like that. It also acts like a biomedia, kind of aeration and drainage for your house plants. So it's not meant to be thrown away. We're a wood-based carbon, so we're actually recycling trimmings from tree companies. We work as a kind of a waste management company, and we developed a process to kind of maximize the temperature to structure the carbon and force out those impurities and everything that can cause whole base activated carbons.
All right, so now about Dark River Aquatics question. Can Aquachar go into the substrate?
Actually, it can. So that's one of the things. So I have a lot of Aquachar that we've used for different aquariums and projects that I've built up and things like that. And I kind of have a freshwater and saltwater bucket. So what I do is there's 2 ways you can use it as a substrate. You can either boil it, and that'll get some of the just let it fill up with organics and use the old stuff as a substrate to start the new tank. As you can see, my aquarium, I actually put it back, like, some people use the rocks to kind of stabilize their rock structure and stuff like that. I use the Aquachar and the mesh bags as a support system for it. What that does is it basically, one of the things that causes a lot of your issues in your system is when your substrate has a lot of that biofilm buildup on top of it. Causes a lot. When you have an when you have a porous surface underneath there, it allows for that breakdown, and it actually pulls it into your substrate and gives it off as nutrients. So if you plant in your system, it helps with that conversion as a substrate. We're working on a product that is going to be a kind of like a smaller thing, and that's the reason why we've tested the boiling and stuff like that. So and
you're boiling it to make it sink. You broke up a little bit. So
yeah, you boil it to kind of force out the bubbles, and it'll sink on you. Not all of it in that first go, but usually it doesn't take long for all of it to sink for you.
Man, if you're gonna sell this stuff, you're gonna have to get better internet connection. But
here, let me switch to a different one real quick.
What?
See if it helps.
Let me run this real quickly. Like, if I were gonna use it for a substrate for, say, the next shrimp rack or something like that, I know it floats. But what I would personally do is soak it for a couple days or so, and then once I saw a majority of the Aquachar starting to sink, I would probably go ahead and throw in some beneficial bacteria, some liquid, fresh, not mulm or something from a tank, something that just started pre-soaking inside the media, and then once it was all sunk, then I could throw it in and mix it in with the substrates. But we had a different way of getting it into our substrates.
Actually, that's what we did with these bags. I kind of got a 5-gallon bucket and just soaked them for a couple of weeks. And what's interesting, because it was actually used in there, a lot of the bacteria in there will go dormant and then regenerate. So once it was in the water for a couple of weeks, you could actually see some of the biofilm on the top, or some of the lipids on the top of the water, because of the biological activity that had kind of jump started and stuff like that. So just an interesting fact.
And then Dark River.
Is my internet any better there?
What's up?
Is my internet any better now?
So far so good.
All right, I just switched to a different one. I'll buy a new extender.
So Dark River Aquatics just said, asking, curious if it could be a replacement / addition for a, I don't know how to say that word.
Plenum, but I don't know what that is.
Like a sum?
Oh, I can address it in general. Is Aquachar is a complementary product to other products. So if you already have balance and stuff like that, or even if your set tank's off a little bit, Aquachar is something like you can pull it out once a month and treat it like live rock you can rinse, which is an added benefit, because I know like you can sit in there with a turkey baster getting your rocks clean.
Oh, it's an under gravel filter.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I'm explaining is the underground, like the underground filter mentality.
I would place it over I would place it over the under gravel filter itself, and then place some bigger substrate, and then cap it off with the finer substrate.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeffrey Brown.
And Dark River Aquatics said thank you. So I'll sell the Aquachar for you. I've already gone through in high detail about the tragic day where Shelby left me and went to the airport and flew away, and I was all on my own.
You made it sound like I left you. Went on a mandatory business trip.
That's what she says. And she wasn't there to help me, but I basically did flea meds to the dogs, and some of the hair ended up getting into like 21 tanks because me and the kids were having a sword fight with some boxes for some lights that came in the same day I did the flea meds in the same spot on the floor. And yeah, so I went and cleaned the pool, drained the whole pool all the way down, got all the mulm out, filled it up, ate dinner, took a shower, sat down in the chair just to see all my shrimp acting lethargic and free all across the fronts of the tanks and stuff like that. I panicked. I quickly messaged my top 5 secret shrimp breeders. We're in a secret group together, and I was like, hey, what should we do? And one of them was like, throw some activated carbon in there. And I was like, I don't have that crap. And I was like, well, I got some Aquachar though. And they were like, throw it in there. And I think I messaged you like after it had happened or something like that. And you're like, throw in the dust will act the fastest. But to be completely honest, before I even messaged you, I had already got with Chaz, my buddy, and he had told me to throw it in there. And man, some of the shrimps that were laying on their back and barely even moving and wiggling, within a minute of me throwing a handful of Aquachar into each one of those tanks, all of the shrimp were fine. Now, mind you, it did cause like a bacterial infection in one of the tanks, and I lost like 5 shrimp in that one. And then I had already lost some shrimp in one of the tanks. The boxes that we were using had a little tape on it. The tape probably stuck to the hair the most. And then I leaned the boxes up against some tanks, and those tanks were hit the worst. And I did lose some fancy tigers in that tank, but they were already long gone before I threw the Aquachar in there. Any shrimp that was breathing before I put that Aquachar in there came back alive 100%, except for the 5 I had a bacterial infection, and those died days after. And I just threw the Aquachar in there. I tried to do as many water changes. Like, I panicked. I went into full panic mode as soon as I started seeing the shrimp, jumping around. I think I called Shelby and I was like, what should I do? She's like, water changes. I'm like, I'm already doing it. But you can only make so much water, RO water, so fast. I think at the time I only had like 150 gallon per day RO unit. I had maybe a trash can or 2 done, but I didn't know if the trash can was infected. I didn't know. So I'm making water, swapping it out as fast as I can. Basically, as soon as I had a 5-gallon bucket, I'll swap in a tank out 50%. But the true saver was the Aquachar. And to this day, I mean, there's a tank down there on the rack just down there, and it's still got the Aquachar in it. and we plan on throwing shrimp in that tank. We never took the poison out any other way. It's just lying dormant in the Aquachar.
Yeah. So let me. Yeah, I remember when you called me that night. It was about midnight, and I could hear it in your voice. You're like, "I'm about to put your stuff to the test," and yeah, you were panicking. And so what happens is if you think about water, it basically wants to spread everything out easily. So that's why you can take one vial of your water and test your ammonia levels, or whatever you're testing, because naturally, water naturally wants to dissipate whatever gets into it. So with the flea meds, it dissipates everywhere.
Right.
So when you add, so what Aquachar does is it acts almost like a black hole, and it kind of acts against the dissipation. So it absorbs it to the surface. So since Aquachar is also a biomedia, the reason why you were able to leave that in there and none of the shrimp were harmed is because it was adsorbed to the surface and biologically broken down.
And then went through a portal. That's exactly what I heard you say, right?
Yeah.
There's a portal involved.
Like a black hole. It takes that dissipation of the water and sucks everything in. So like that could be harmful in your system.
But how's it going, Robert Bloomfield? I see you lurking in there. But Brian, you want to hit up this question?
So a lot, but one of the benefits of Aquachar is the fact that it's meant for the lifespan of your system. It's meant to add new to the existing and kind of find a balance for what you're specifically running, your feeding schedule, your stuff like that. We promote a environment where the beneficial bacteria can fight off some of the pathogens and stuff like that look for those dead septic zones. So if you ever use like activated charcoal, what'll happen is it'll get almost clogged and you'll get like a orange goo around it. That basically is a septic zone that bacteria starts breaking down, the coals and stuff like that. So Purigen, on the other hand, it's very similar, as in they have the bleaching method to regenerate it. Ours only uses hydrogen peroxide, and what you're trying to do is just do some desorption. But mostly you're just disturbing the biofilm so it regenerates back to what your current system needs. So yeah, I don't know if that completely answered the question, but
I would also say lifespan. Aquachar is going to last way longer than charcoal or Purigen, and also Purigen, you have to use that little tiny mesh bag, or else you're going to have a snowball in the tank, a snow globe in the tank. But it's not that big of an issue if any Aquachar goes loose in your tank. It's just going to look like natural debris.
Even that. So one of the unique things about Aquachar is that it's actually a larger size. Let me see if I can grab one of these.
But we'll go through.
He said at least that came back though.
So let's see if I can do that. If you can see it, it's a larger size, so it's meant to allow the flow to go through, but it'll shred off. If you ever think about when you feed your tank, the food goes soft on the inside and then and stays hard on the outside. So so as that happens, that outside stuff's what the bacteria wants to eat. So Aquachar isn't acid washed or anything like that, so it has that rough structure to pull that, like kind of shred that off, but allow the inside food to be pushed through that may be consumed by invertebrates or shrimp or something like that. So it's kind of like speeding up your organic breakdown process.
How's it going, Robert Bloomfield?
Hey, Robert.
Jeffrey Brown says, top of the evening to you. I was going to say morning. Oh, man.
So are there any more questions, or you want to escape?
All right. So that's it for Aquachar. You can go ahead and escape. I got a few more stories I was going to go ahead and go through. I'll talk about.
I was going to say, you can tell some stories while I focus on this. But so if you've watched this show before or seen this tank before, I actually moved it to a different direction. But It still has the same basic rock structure over here. I'm not going to move it because my internet's actually good here. But yeah, I've been stuck. And, if you've ever been in the hobby where you actually have to do something that's super complicated, like when you're actually scaping. So yeah, I talked to Grant and I said, last week after the show, he always gives me a hard time about not having anything new here. So I talked to him after the show, or we talked after the show and said, let's just do an episode where we just hang out and scape and kind of chat together so people can see, how we do it as a team. Because, I know Chance isn't here, but Shelby and Grant both have a lot of good inputs on just little details and directions and stuff like that. So let me start with explaining my idea and kind of what I was going for originally. So I was kind of going to go for like a dual mountain look, but this come down this way and have one that comes around, comes down the other way. I was going to move these stones and rearrange it like this wasn't a set in stone type of thing, structure. So I was going to have sand on this side and then have it heavily planted on this side with, soil and stuff like that. One thing that I did do is I have some bacteria that's dry powder. It's kind of like what a mono sells, but one of my buddies in Holland sent me some. So I put that down and it'll slow release to digesting bacteria into the substrate and stuff like that. And that's why I'm focusing on putting the Aquachar on that side. So when the tank starts, it'll jumpstart that breakdown, the heavy ammonia system and stuff like that, cycling and everything. It kind of assists with that. So yeah, I was just going to get up and kind of get your ideas, and people are free to comment on where they think this rock here. Let me move my chair.
Yeah, and you might want to get the camera a little bit closer too. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah. Whoops. All right, that looks good, right?
Yeah, that looks nice.
All right.
All right, we're just going to jump back into the chat here before we get too far behind. The other night, we were like 35 minutes behind in chat.
Oh, I know.
So,
welcome to the stream, Shrimp Bee. Thank you so much, Crypt Keeper. And hello, Big Dog. And the question is green jade with white sand good for a tank?
I'm going to say no, because the green jade is one of the worst shrimp for camouflaging, meaning that the lighter the substrate, the lighter the color is going to be, and the greens are just going to wash out almost completely. Some of them will have like a little yellow hue or blue hue sometimes, but the same shrimp that look washed out and ugly, if you took them and threw them on, a light black, dark gray substrate, something like that, you'll be able to see them still, and they're going to be a lot darker in comparison. If you want green shrimp on white substrate, I would go for emeralds instead. They look a lot better on the white, and they almost look black when you throw them on black substrate. So I always prefer them on white. We do have a video on the difference between green jade and green emerald, in case you were wondering.
And welcome, Jamie Anderson.
How's it going, man?
How you doing, Dane?
So Dane invited us over to his house. Jason Adams came to town and spoke for our aquarium club of Pasco County. And when I picked him up from the airport, Dane's house was a short 22-minute drive. And he has quite a load of different animals. He beats us in biodiversity by a lot. He had like 9 ducks, 3 ferrets, a chinchilla, newts, turtles, a tortoise, snakes, fish, shrimp, frogs. I know I'm forgetting something, but it was a great first stop. It did not disappoint, and yeah, thank you so much, man. And then he got to come by our house after the meeting And it's really cool to have somebody, you know, within driving distance that's really that dedicated and has that much passion for the hobby like you do. So it was really cool to have him come and hang out. And I grabbed some black mollies off of him. I saw they were doing really nice in his ponds outside. Of course, we've got very similar water since we live near each other and very similar temperatures outside. So I wanted to get some of his mollies. He had some really small ones. I like the smaller fish, the smaller shrimp. It seems like the smaller animals adapt to the water parameters better, acclimate a little easier. And for that reason, I want some of those to go outside into the hot tub. Right now, we've got the water dialed down outside, so that way the hot tub isn't overflowing into the pool. It's just kind of running just slow enough that it's going into the filter system. What's up?
If you build more on the right side to make it a little bit more even, it would look better.
Yeah, I was gonna build something back here. I'm just trying to figure out if I like the
No, at
angle.
the bottom.
It does make a heart.
I don't like it though.
No, I don't like it either.
Because
it
makes a heart, but it could also be a ball sack.
In the butt. It does kind of like a ball.
What?
Live streaming. We're not just hanging out here.
I'm just saying.
Gosh. I'm gonna have to censor him. I need a censor button. Do they make those here?
Hey, if we were hanging out, you know how much worse it would be.
I'm just saying, man. Someone's gonna say it if I didn't. So I might
especially if our buddy Kevin's on there.
Oh my gosh.
But I would add some bottom rocks because remember what we had to do for the
Oh yeah, no, I got more rocks. I'm just trying to figure out with this art structure how I want to, or if I want to bring it out a little bit. Like, let me see a second real quick.
Are you doing any rock work on the left side of the tank?
Yeah, I'm gonna have something going over like this.
I would work on that and then build your arch off of that.
Because like I don't know if I want to come like down like that. You can't even see that, so I'm sitting right on the head tank.
Yeah.
But I cannot wait to see your house, Dane. Hopefully I get to see that. I'm excited. Love all the animals. I don't have any furry creatures besides our dogs right now, so.
And Jamie can confirm jades are the worst color-wise. I really cannot think of another shrimp that loses and washes out as fast as they do. Maybe besides the cardinal shrimp. You take the cardinal Denarily pseudo-SA shrimp and you throw them into a cup. They go from red to like light blue.
Mm-hmm. They're still pretty though.
Yeah. Hello, do the CBS and orange-eyed BT make orange-eyed BT?
Crystal black shrimp.
And how's it going, Brandon? I believe this is the same Brandon on Facebook who invited us over to his house for the Triple Crown. And
there's two Brandons.
Yeah, so I got to figure out which Brandon is which. But so crystal black shrimp crossed with any tiger shrimp is going to make Tybee. Once you cross any bees with a tiger, and vice versa, you can never get pure tiger or pure bee out of those again. You'll have hybrids forever. There's nothing you can do to ever crossbreed back with one another, or F2s cross back to single out a gene. It's just never going to be pure again. So that cross would make Tybees. With crossing back the F1s with orange-eyed blue tigers, you can get more orange-eyed crosses, but you would not get orange-eyed blue tigers, and you would certainly not get any orange eyes with first generation. It's lagging a little bit. I actually like if you kind of like 1/3 centered the arch and then built up on both sides, because
that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm thinking. I think I might need to. Like, I don't really need to build up with these bags. I don't know how high I want to build it.
Because You guys were okay with the open space, and even the judges and Lewis assured me that the open space on the sides of the arch was fine, but like it drove me nuts. Like I felt like we could have made the tank a lot better if we had just scaped two mountainsides with an arch instead of just an arch out of nowhere. That was my whole thing. So if you could bring my thing to light and prove me right or prove me wrong. Either way, I'm down for it. Just filling in the gaps on the sides of the arch, making them nice structures.
I gotcha. Let's see what we can do.
Jane said it was great visiting your place, and I appreciate you and Jason taking the time to come by.
It was great. For you guys who want to breed barb shrimp, check out Jason at Primetime Aquatics. Dane went through and did a nice little barb breeding tutorial, and it's definitely something like you can ask Shelby. We went to a pet store today, and I was like, look at those gold barbs. I like them. No interest. Nothing off of her. So I'm going to have to find something that tickles her fancy.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was okay. It was all right. So Jamie said, get to go on my days off tomorrow. 7-hour drive to my family. So stoked. My shrimp are not fed for 1 week a month while I'm gone home. What do you guys do when you leave your shrimp for a few days?
So I don't use a lot of leaves, but if I was leaving for a month and a week, I would probably throw in maybe 1 or 2 catappa leaves in each one of the tanks. Another thing I would do is right before I left, I would feed a healthy dose of snowflake food. It's soybean husk hulls, and they are not very polluting to the water. They don't break down and create ammonia issues or anything like that. I like to call them a vacation food because we'll overfeed that right before we leave. And then in a lot of tanks, there'll still be a little bit of it down on the floor. And what doesn't get eaten right away will feed off on biofilm. So the shrimp might not eat the snowflake right away. They might eat the biofilm that grows off of the snowflake. So that's a great food. And then,
but I would, you did say hefty. So for people that haven't used snowflakes, he means hefty as in it's still small. It breaks up quite a bit in the tank. So they might think hefty's like 4 of those.
If you've used snowflake before, yes, though, do a double. Do twice as much as you would feed a normal snowflake feeding before you go on vacation. It'll be fine. The shrimp, I feel like we could leave the house for 2 months and come back. And what's going to happen are some of the shrimp are going to molt and be a little weak, and the other shrimp are going to get hungry, and they might eat a couple of those. But for 2 months, you're probably going to have a couple batches of babies. Your baby survival rate might not be as high because you're not feeding as much. You're not doing as much water changes and stuff like that. But I definitely feel like as long as you have a nice amount of surface area in the tank and, there's biofilm growing, the shrimp will be higher in population when you're gone. Well, when you come back than when you left. I'm so sorry. Trying to pay attention to Brian, chat, Shelby, and talk. Multitasking.
I'm assuming they're asking, does whites do the... I can't.
Do white sand will get green
I think
emeralds?
if they put white sand, will they green up more? Maybe.
For the emeralds, yeah. The white really washes out the green jades, though. The emeralds are like a painted Neocaridina, and it's really thick shell, and that doesn't tend to wash out. Where the green jades, it's super thin.
Well, and Jeffrey Brown said snowflake as well. And that was a different Brandon. Hey, Ray Aquatics. Robert. Did I get the right? Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, it's Robert.
And he said, yeah, I usually do snowflake, but have some fresh dandelion leaves I may drop in with them. I have nice algae wall on most of my... tanks.
Grant loves that when I do that.
I heard that hurt my soul, Brian.
Hey, go ahead and tell the story.
Oh.
Go ahead, Grant. Just tell him why I'm not allowed to touch any rocks when we're scaping. I'm only allowed a hammer to break rocks.
No,
You need
that's
to
not
put
true.
styrofoam on the walls of the tanks when you're scaping, or scape outside with a tape on the ground.
That
like
is something we should do. We show up with very thin sheets of styrofoam, and all these other people are like, "You guys are hiding, so we can't see what you're doing." And we're like, "No, we're just making sure Brian doesn't break the tanks."
Like all of you.
So it's the first aquatic experience. It's the first, not the first one, but it's the first one where the four of us are all together: Chance, Shelby, Brian, and myself. And we're all scaping this one fluval tank for the LiveScape contest. And it's like a 48-gallon tank. And we're using these huge pieces of dragonstone, like way bigger than my head. And we're trying to arrange them. I'm like 20 feet back, trying to get like a good perspective of this thing and just trying to let them do their own thing. And next thing you know, Brian's organizing it, and one of the rocks slips and falls and right on the tank. And I thought for sure it was going to be cracked. And somebody left their tank next door and flew back home. And I was like, we are going to have to get on our hands and knees for a new tank. But Fluval made those tanks. I got to give it to them. They really did a cracking job, because not even a scratch. The tank held up fine.
I never break them.
And Sheila took the tank home. So hopefully the tank's still holding up. Maybe they can let us know.
Yeah.
Kevin watches our videos time to time. Maybe he'll let us know in the comments down. But yeah, it's one of those things where Brian tells us, and we find out last time that his hand only has like half feeling in it. And I'm like, Brian, why are you even taking that risk? I was like, we got one crack at this thing, and we've already got most of it put together, and he's trying to put these twigs in place, and then he's just bumping things. And I'm like, Brian.
All right, so I got surgery there on my arm. This part, I got freckles on my wrist because I took it off of my shoulder.
Listen, I got freckles on my eye, and that's just because I got freckles. You don't have to blame it on the skin grafts.
I went to the doctor today, and she was like checking to like to see moles and stuff, and she's like, is this new or old? Like, I was like, I couldn't keep track of all the freckles and moles I have. Is that Irish?
Welcome. How you doing, Lonnie?
I mean, that's Ray.
I said welcome.
Okay.
I just don't. Cherie. Is your name Cherie or Renee? I'm getting real confused now. I've seen it 3 different ways. So, hey, Lonnie. Hey, Amazon, which is, what's his real name?
Is it Lonnie or Looney?
Lonnie.
Okay.
Looney would be with 2 O's, but Looney Tunes over there. Lonnie, aka Looney Tunes.
All right. How's it going, Dr. Awesome?
How you doing?
Oh, and I watched your stream on the Fish Room or something like that. Yeah. It was with 2 guys from New Zealand, and I'm actually first generation from New Zealand in the United States. And I'm sure some people have a little issue, Shelby, with the accents, but it was quite nice to hear other people with that accent talk about something other than family and about aquariums and stuff. It was quite nice.
They weren't as quiet as your grandfather is. He's very, very quiet. it must have been right after Dan's fish stream.
No, I don't.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, we wanted to do earlier, but because of Primetime Aquatics and Dan's fish stream, we didn't want to jump onto too much traffic on many streams, so we took the later option.
Got Anthony, that's what I was trying to get.
Oh,
That's what I was trying to get his name. Oh. How you doing, Jeff?
because of Rico, I just call him Dr. Awesome. And he's awesome, so.
Tiger nerite snail. Is it good with shrimp or spotted rabbit snail?
All right, so the nerite snails are great. However, they are going to lay eggs, and the eggs never, ever go away. And because I don't know what kind of shrimp you're keeping them with, but I'm assuming freshwater, not opaula, they will not hatch in freshwater. So you're going to have these annoying, ugly-looking eggs all over your tank that are never going to turn into snails. So the other thing is the spotted rabbit snails are going to eat plants. So if you plan on not doing a planted tank and you just want like a hardscape tank or something like that, the rabbit snails are great. But they are super annoying and they like get stuck in the dumbest places. Like we got to check on the rabbit snails every other day to make sure that they didn't like cone themselves into the one of the rocks or something like that. They'll fall in backwards and fall right in.
Jamie recommended you use pieces of cardboard and slide them out when rocks are in place. That's not a bad idea. And I know it was you. I just didn't know that your actual name's Cherie. I've seen Ree, but I thought I saw Renee somewhere else too. So that's really cool. My mom has a really good friend named Cherie. Hope that yours is pronounced the same. Welcome. I have some ghost shrimp. What would be good easy shrimp for me to get into?
So the easiest shrimp to get into is going to be the neocaradinas. I'd say that they're way easier to breed even than ghost shrimp. The ghost shrimp, they have a larva stage. They're super, super tiny. You have to feed those larvae some type of powdered foods or something in the water column in order for those to grow large enough to morph into regular shrimps. Where the neocaradinas, they just hold on their eggs for 30 days, and when the eggs hatch, they're little miniature versions of the adults. Most of the time, they don't like to walk around for like the first week or so. It's while their first molt happens. After the first molt, they'll kind of walk around, move around, search for food. But as long as they have enough biofilm in that area where they're born, they should be all right. If they don't, you could substitute some powdered foods. But I haven't had to use any powdered foods for quite some time now. And they breed in a variety of different parameters, and they're going to produce about 30 babies per female every month or so. So we're all caught up in chat. So that means I can talk about another Aquachar story.
But before that, Brian, where is your anything to support those rocks?
No, I'm getting there.
Nervous. I can't remember what the plastic's called already.
Thermoplastic or what are you going to use to support those?
I'm gonna end up getting. I'm just scaping to see what I like, and then I'll put it back together once I get pictures done. Like I'm not gonna have this done like this show, you know.
All right.
I'm just trying to get my vision kind of out there.
Are you going for the heart again? You're like one rock away from making a heart
area and make it look like it goes down like that.
Yeah, you're one, and because the heart is facing up, I don't think anybody's going to call it a ball sack.
It's a terrible heart.
That's not that bad. He's like one more rock away. All right, so I already said the flea medicine one. The next one is we are in Florida, and Florida has a horrible issue with fire ants. And for those up north that don't know about fire ants, these little tiny red ants, and they burrow in the sugar sand all around everywhere, and they make little tiny ant mounds. But when the ants get frustrated or scared, they will crawl onto you, they will bite you, and then they will pee inside of you. And it's like a little neurotoxin, or not neurotoxin, but poison. And I don't know, it swells up and makes like a little pimple, and it is super itchy. Like it'll itch for 3, 4, 5 days. It'll keep anybody up all night. One of the worst things that happened to me was when we first moved down here. I had a soccer ball. I was out front playing in the yard, and I decided I was exhausted and laid down. I laid right down in a fire ant pile, and they probably crawled all over me, and I didn't know what went on. And when the first one bit me, I probably rolled into the fire ant pile even worse. And when I got inside, my mom didn't know what to do. She threw me in the hot tub to get all the fire ants off me, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. I still remember it to this day, and I was only like 3 or 4 years old. But these ants are a big problem, especially if you have kids and they play out in the yard and stuff like that. You don't want to have to, treat a kid with fire ant issues or anything like that. So we treat the yard. I hate using pesticides. I use it way less than what we should be using it. Every now and then I'll let the fire ants go for like 2-3 weeks just because I hate using the pesticides. We live so close to one of the nicest waterways in Florida, so I really don't like to use any fertilizers either outside, except for very small amounts in selected pot plants and stuff like that. But we don't fertilize the yard or anything like that. And taking care of the fire ants, I usually just spot treat, but we do like a good line all the way around the house. And I had one of those like little hand crake things, and just started in the front of the house, going around the house like I always do. And this was when I very first set up the ponds out back, and I turned the corner, not remembering that the pond was on the other side, and panicked. And I had already gone through the whole thing with the dog dewormer, flea medicine issue, and I went through and grabbed some Aquachar, threw it into the ponds real quick. There was a bunch of Endler guppies breeding in there, and I didn't have any issues at all, and didn't even have to do a water change. I just knew that I had put enough poison into that pond probably to kill all the fish off. And I just, within like 5 minutes, went and grabbed some Aquachar, threw it into that pond, and there wasn't any issues. I threw it into the next pond too, just in case any little bits got in that. But that could have been a way worse event, especially if I didn't have anything ready to, do an emergency water change. But that could be one situation. You want to catch up on chat? And I got another story.
Cryptkeeper asked, have you made any do-it-yourself foods? Seen few tutorials for lollipops and pellets. Curious if you've ever dabbled into it or just trust the name brands.
I just trust that Shrimp Envy. Shrimp Envy is a homemade shrimp food from local breeders over in Oregon. It is the Bloomfields. They're here in chat, Rob and Cherie. So the two of them, they've done the research, the effort, and they have the time to do it. Rob told me the other day that he spent an entire day making shrimp food. And if I did that, that'd make me an entire day behind on water changes, an entire day behind on building the new rack stand. It's just, I don't have the time for that. Shelby doesn't have the time for that. And the only thing close to that is we grow our own guava leaves, and we were growing our own papaya leaves as well, but that tree died off in the wintertime. So I might buy a new tree. I might get mulberry and put it in that spot instead. But I'm not a big fan of too many leaves, so I'm just going to stick with those few options. We have bananas, and I never use those.
So I'm going to jump in on that question just in general. Is there's a lot of DIY stuff that you can do, and you think that unless you're looking to actually like make that your hobby instead of actually like taking the shrimp, 9 times out of 10, if you talk to people and who to recommend, you'll get a consistent group of three. And as a small business owner myself, reach out to them, ask them questions, see how responsive they are, and don't ask them like how to make their stuff. Say, why do you do your stuff? Like, what makes your stuff different? If you know something like an ingredient and that they don't use, you ask them why, and I guarantee you they'll give you a reason why. Because a lot of those people that are small businesses doing something like shrimp sticks and stuff like that, they are very much people that are doing that as a passion to say so other hobbyists can enjoy it. So they most of the time, most likely like me, the people in their day-to-day lives are tired of hearing about it. So they're more than happy to actually have people interested and ask questions as a small business. They might not be, they might be busy, but they, let them get back to them, give them time because, life happens.
Oh, the Bloomfield's food was also recommended to me by another shrimp breeder, and I actually got free samples. And then on the free samples were the ingredients, and I really like the ingredients. And it's one of the foods where a little goes a long way. And some of those foods you feed and it breaks down and it's gone, and it's like I don't know if the food went into the substrate, the snails all ate it, or what. But yeah, it's definitely a great food that we've added into our cycle.
Yeah, you have to appreciate when people do thousands of hours of research, and they want to produce it for you, save you
And
time and don't haggle with them.
I think Big Dog rephrased his question. What's a good shrimp color for white sand? Blue Dreams, Blue Diamonds, those look great. They're one of the shrimps where you throw them on black and it's really hard to see them. However, I don't know if we can get the on camera. Usually shrimp gets all the spotlight, but Thea's just been sitting there like, please pet me. I want attention too. But
Pitiful.
yeah, she's definitely the saddest thing in the house. She's got the eyeliner, she's got the emo look going. It's her decade for sure. She's rocking it. But the blues, those are great. If you can get the green emeralds, those are another one. Yellow and orange, those kind of wash out. The black kind of washes out. Even reds will wash out. So it's really just those two colors. Anything else is gonna kind of fade on white substrate. Also, though, a good thing is if you get like reds or something and they don't fade, they're really high quality and it's worth breeding those out. And that's the second time you referred to ball sack. Oh man. And Dr. Anthony said, fire ants, I remember them during my grad school time in Louisiana. Yeah, I know Louisiana, Texas, some of the other states have them as well. And it's one of the bonus things about living up north, but then every time it snows, it's like all of that goes backwards. So
I have to read. I'm sorry. Them fire ants is the devil. That's what I like. The mom from Waterboy.
Waterboy.
That's all I'm thinking. Them fire ants is the devil.
you sounded like the lady from American Horror Stories.
Oh, that's the same lady. You know that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, the old
I
lady.
don't pay attention to movies very much.
It's the same way. It's the same lady.
And then,
So I did a good impression.
yeah.
Gonna have to go as her.
Jamie Anderson commented our membership link. Member shrimp
Thank
link.
you.
So thank
Member
you
shrimp
everybody
link. I
who
like
signed up for our member shrimps. Thank you guys. The Neos, the Caradina, especially the Silhouette, the member shrimps. I'm gonna have to just save that. Thank you guys. I was gonna think of something cool to come on to. That just happened naturally. We're just gonna have to run with it, no matter how corny it is. And if it works, it works. So Thank you, everybody. It really helped out. It's definitely put some insight on how we're going to take things and move things forward. And it definitely helps put a little pep in our step. It's motivation. And thank you guys for all your support.
Thank you.
Oh, another fire ants are the devil. I'm not even going to try the name.
Solanopus.
Invicta. I got that one.
Which means invincible. Nasty little creatures.
Yeah. Yes. And so, like, I hate using the insecticide, and they're one of the things where they'll build a tolerance. So you actually, if you have a fire ant issue, you have to swap out and use a different kind of insecticide if you want to get rid of them every few months. Well, I mean, like every half year, switch out. Did you have another one? You took it away from me.
I had a buddy in the Army that had a horrible reaction to fire ants at Fort Benning, I can't say that, Georgia. He was no longer able to serve in the military because of it. Terrible.
Benning. Fort Benning.
Oh, that was a lot easier. I don't know why I was reading that wrong. And then Crypt Keeper said, heard the flea meds given to dog fur can be harmful in shrimp tanks in the same house. Yes. Our dog has this celestial collar thing. Any issues there? Should we quarantine her to a different room for a few weeks?
So after the flea med issue, it was just with the topical drops. And I had been doing that for 5.5 years before, with fish tanks in the house, shrimp tanks in the house, before we had any issues. And I want to say it was just because, and I mean, like, I can go grab the boxes right now. You tell the story. It's just because.
Tell the story.
You tell the story.
You just told the story at the beginning. I would just like to add, if you are going to use a flea collar instead, is that you use gloves and do not touch your tank. I would wait about 24 hours to touch your tank just in case. A lot of people forget that they touched anything like that. And our hands, especially if you think about it. Ow.
Is that bad?
If you think about how many times you touch fish or anything that smells, how long it stays on your hands, that smell, just remember those chemicals sit in your hands a little bit longer. So
I feel horrible. It fell out of my hand. I wasn't actually trying to hit her. But yeah, we got these boxes, and then on this side is tape. But in every single box, I don't have enough room to do this. They all have 3 boxes inside, and we were using those as swords inside the house. Shelby was gone. There was no mom home to control all the action, and now he's all worked up and riled up too. But are you okay? I didn't mean to hit you with that. It fell out of my hand and the box ripped. But if we didn't do the whole sword fight, I don't think the flea meds would have been an issue. But because we did that, the tape was stuck on the ends of it and probably picked up some of the hair while it was on the ground. And then when we were swinging it through the air, some of the hair probably broke loose and then fell in the tanks, because we had like 60 tanks inside the living room at the time. And it was just tanks without lids. And then I carefully wiped off the lids and everything like that. But it was, something we had done before with no issues. And the only thing different that day was we had the sword fights.
thank you, Jamie.
Appreciate it.
And Brian Xanadu said, loving the arch.
I think you do gotta kind of like make it into a heart now, though, man.
I'm kind of thinking I need to, and I think it's just because my daughter would love it and actually like pay attention to the fish.
Now he wants to play.
Yeah, maybe do some like bleeding heart tetras in the tank.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do.
Big Dog asked, if you mix snowball shrimps with green shrimp, what do you get?
Wilds. You might get lucky and get something else, but 99% of the time when you cross one Neocaridina with another Neocaridina, you'll end up getting a wild.
And Jeffrey said the Bloomfields rock, and they said we are always happy to answer questions. They are definitely one of my favorite foods for sure.
And they're
very picky.
Their customer service is better than ours, probably. They respond back every single time. I was going to say,
that's the thing, and that's why you support people like that.
I will get a link in just a second for everybody. But let's find a question.
You should go to our video and check out the description for the discount code for the food. I can't remember what it was. It's like TGOE 10 or it's just TGOE, maybe TGOE shrimp. I don't know. I couldn't remember it last time. Here, I'll get it. You go ahead and talk about when we painted Layla's room.
Oh, when we had to throw oh.
Yep.
So I guess our third story about it was, I think were we painting her whole room? Yeah.
Yep.
So we decided to paint Layla's room because it was a green color before, and of course we wanted to redo it because they colored on the walls. She chose pink, and we were painting her whole room, and we have a little bit of like air movement, but we didn't have anywhere for it to vent. They can hear everything.
Yeah, I didn't mean to.
But we didn't really have anywhere for it to escape. We weren't thinking about anything until Grant came out of the room, saw some of the tanks in the hallway. Some of the shrimp were acting really strange and lethargic. So, of course, he was like, all right, we've already done Aquachar a couple times. It's helped us in the past before. Let's do it again. And he grabbed it, and sure enough, it helped again.
Yeah, I can't find it. You're going to have to go through and do it. It's on the description.
Yeah, you don't think about
it's in the
painting
video.
The house is going to be a problem because all of our pumps are air-driven. So it's sucking in all of that, the fumes from the paint. So something you don't really think about. But if you're painting a room, I would suggest you really open the windows, turn on some fans, and have some Aquachar on hand.
Yeah, a lot of people will ask me, how do I use the Aquachar? And, you can put it in a little bag behind your sponge filter. You can put it in your hang on the back filter. But I have so many tanks, and I just don't put it in every single tank. I'm sorry, Brian. It's not in all of them. It's just it's
let's talk about
something
that
I have
because
for my problematic tanks.
So it's actually interesting. Like you brought it up here. Let me turn my light on so people can see my beautiful face. So the reason you actually didn't, thanks, Cruz. You're awesome. The reason that you weren't going to put it in the tank is because the pH thing. So the saltwater side, everyone was reviewing that increased the pH. And since you have low pH, and that was and we talked to Chaz about this too, we weren't sure what the reaction would be. So like you actually did do the testing, and I think you saw like a 0.2 swing or so. Nothing that was anything that worried you. So so one of the things that we determined, especially because like I'm the planted tank side, and I know that you want the lower pH and everything like that. So like for me, it was really interesting that with buffered substrates, the buffering is actually going to outlast the slow release mechanisms that we developed with Aquachar to increase pH. So I usually say with sensitive systems, start with a half dose, and then as you need more, if you need a boost in clarity, then just add a little bit more and build it up. Because after a certain amount of time, that pH that's slow release isn't going to be anything that's legible in your tank, but it provides a surface that certain bacteria need with that higher alkalinity.
So a big thank you to Anthony for this.
Dr. Anthony, the man works so hard.
You have to say it. I know.
Have to.
But it looks like you're going to have to send some info to him, Brian.
What's that?
That's on your part.
Have you sent the Amazon Research Center some Aquachar already?
I don't know that I have, but
we can send some out.
if
We'll
you're
get together and I'll fund it, and we'll get Dr. Anthony some Aquachar out there, because I think
yeah,
that
tell
would
him
be.
to send me an email at sales@aquachar.com, and we'll discuss it and see if we can do a project, because that's definitely something that we're interested in, is finding newer uses. I actually just had the clownfish side. I had a guy that was killing all of his baby clownfish because there's ammonia spike at about day 6 when they morph. So he went from killing all of his fish to actually having to build a whole new fish room to keep his clownfish breeding alive. So
I see it now. But yeah, no, we'll get together.
And also thanks to Cruz. And that's to you, Brian, for explaining Aquachar.
appreciate it, Cruz. He's a good buddy.
Incredible. Now we'll go back up. Skip some of the.
But I always tell people it's something you should have on hand as like in an emergency cabinet. You know, everybody's got a medicine cabinet. I think Aquachar should be in everybody's emergency cabinet.
So yeah, again on that,
I still haven't told the best story either.
Let's save it. But even on that, like what's interesting is you know, I can't tell you how many stories I've had people say, like, I just overdosed this medication, or I have this reaction, and I put this in I had some extra Aquachar on hand, or I just got my order and it saved my entire tank. And, you know, that's the reason why I do this, is because it's really cool to see, you know, again, you know, it doesn't take a lot to fix your issues. And I think that we could consider both of us pretty veteran, you know, hobbyists, or at least, you know, aquarists. So we still have our mess ups. We still may have our boneheaded type of things. And, you know, some people say to leave some activated carbon on hand and stuff like that. But, you know, Aquachar actually helps you with, and that's fine if you want to, you know, have something that's going to have to be tossed afterwards.
It even helps out with the fog machines at the shows, huh?
What's that?
It even helps with the fog machines at the shows.
Yeah, well,
people don't realize that fog's got to go somewhere, huh?
Yeah, that was an interesting show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie.
Oh yeah. I do remember talking to the Amazon Research Center. I think they talked to Ricky. So yeah.
So Jamie said, organic foods from a local health food is a good place for ingredients for the shrimp food. Avoid grocery stores, as the produce could be sprayed with pesticides. Thanks for joining us, Yellowstone.
How's it going, man? Red Aquatic says the fire ants here are no joke.
Oh yeah, they are not. They're so terrible.
The worst though is like when you're walking through high water and there was a fire ant pile nearby, and they all climb on you because they're trying to get into a dry spot.
Oh yeah.
Jamie said, I experienced fire ants in San Antonio. Those things are insane. I didn't even realize that people up north don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this was like a really common thing. I had a friend almost die from the fire ants because he's allergic to it. And it was pure panic mode if we ever ran into a fire ant pile. It was scary. Amazon Research just said he just purchased 3 packs of shrimp blizzard food from Shrimp NB. You're going to enjoy it.
The shrimp blizzard, though, that's
blizzard.
That's the food that you don't like. All right,
is that the powdered food?
No, that's the food that smells like baby vomit. Shelby won't let me feed it in the house because the next day the entire house smells horrible.
But he decided to feed
smells horrible.
We're working in the greenhouse. It's very late. I'm exhausted. Usually when you get overworked, overexhausted, you get really nauseous. Then he decides to feed everything that nasty baby vomit smell. And like, you know, it's fine to feed it and walk away. But when you're like sitting or standing next to it and working for an hour, you're like, oh, what is that smell. It's really good. The shrimp love it though.
Yeah, they do. They go
Absolutely
crazy for
obsessed
it, but
with it.
it smells.
Just turn on a fan, you'll be fine. So, would Aquachar be a good thing on hand if you deal with flea meds? Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Honestly,
I think Aquachar would be a good thing to have on hand
so like
in any
a
situation.
lot of that stuff from a science standpoint is alkali. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is alkali, and they'll attach into the wall, like they're positively charged or have a charge that would be attracted to Aquachar. So when I was telling you earlier that water dissipates, it basically pulls things in or pulls that in out of the water and creates an imbalance.
So Crypt Keeper asks how much Aquachar if we were expecting or suspecting a chemical such as flea meds having made their way into a tank. How much Aquachar per gallon? Isn't it like a quarter cup for 10 gallons? It'd be a small amount for 1 gallon. Like 1 cup does 40 gallons, so a fourth of a cup would do 10 gallons. Yeah, nay.
I don't know. In emergency situations,
We lost Brian.
We would just take a handful
no,
for
a
a
quarter-
10-gallon tank.
A quarter cup for a 10-gallon tank. So
It's almost back. Is he there?
yeah.
Okay.
You there? Oi, Mike, you there? He's there, but is he there? Let's move on with chat.
Okay.
He's just going to what he does best. That's aquascaping, playing with the rocks. Oh, we lost him. We'll add him back.
So, welcome to the stream, Aquatic Universe with Mike B.
How's it going? And then thank you once again. Did we do both of them?
He said too late. I just purchased food.
Jumped on us. That's what happened. We only asked him info 4 years ago. Oh, Jesus. Brian, 4 years in the making. He must have some internet issues 4 years ago. But to be fair to Brian, Brian's not the only one running the show. So,
well, I'm in my shed because my kids are sleeping inside.
Yeah, public aquarium, a little late.
So, Dr. Anthony, were you at the aquatic experience? Because both me and Shelby feel like we've met you before.
Yeah.
So that's probably it.
I met you from like a different club. Like
he probably tried to buy plants off of you or talk to you at plants at 7C Supply.
Well, hey, Dr. Anthony,
I just feel like maybe it's
no. I feel like the Tampa club had a booth there.
You had a booth there? Oh man.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss a little bit more with what we know now compared to when we did, in 2019.
Baby vomit. Blizzard food is Vin's food, and shrimp love smelly food. They do. I don't know what it is, but they love it.
Doesn't
like
make
a dog.
It doesn't make the wife happy. And what can happen with the food is, so I have a buddy. This is the best story, and I was saving this one for last. I have another story too, but that's a sad one, and it's a good story, but it didn't have a happy ending. So I have a buddy. You guys might have seen the series How to Save a Shrimp Room. I know I'm slacking on that one. Eddie and the baby and them got sick for a little while, so we decided it was best not to try and do any filming or move along with anything. Eddie had his hands quite full. So back in the beginning, though, when we first were jumping into this venture together. Eddie would take some shrimp home. I would take some shrimp home. I'd get them breeding. He'd get some breeding, and then he'd have some die-offs in like several different tanks and stuff like that. And we really couldn't figure it out. And there was some things, and we eliminated those, and the issue kept happening. And I was like, hey, man, are you spraying Febreze? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you got to stop that. The Febreze, the air softener, it's going into the water, and it's poisoning the shrimp. So they said they stopped. So everything continues, and all is well. And, well, not all is well. Everything's still bad. And you can't figure it out. I'm like, you stop spraying? Yeah, we stopped spraying. And so we can't figure it out. So one day I'm like, all right, I got to go over there and nip this issue in the bud and take it head on. And I get there, and the first thing I see when I walk through the door is this basket with every flavor, scent, I don't know what you want to call it, but I know they're not flavors, but every scent of Febreze can you could possibly have. And I'm going, dude, why is this still in the house? She's spraying when you're gone. I can smell it in the house when I walked in. They're still using it. You're lying. And they're like, oh, but wait, this is how we do it. We don't spray it in the room anymore. We just walk over to the vents and spray it in the vents. And I'm like, no, you can't do that because it's an air freshener. It's going in the air, and then your air conditioning is now spreading it throughout the entire house. So it's like, dude, you got to get rid of it entirely. Shelby can get away every now and then with using a candle. However, we don't light it very long, and
I have
not very often. Yeah,
over
like
2 years. I don't do well with candles in general.
The best way to get the house smelling good is to clean the floors, clean the house, make sure the house isn't dirty. Wash the dogs the day before so they don't smell like wet dogs. That's, the key to helping your house smell nice and clean, and avoid using Febreze. One of the best compliments that we got from Jason when he came by, we have so many tanks, and there's only so many fish rooms with this kind of caliber of the possibility of humidity. Let's just say that. And he goes, not only was it, not humid, but the house didn't smell. And that's all on Shelby, because she goes through and makes sure the house
that always amazes me.
Clean. And you know what? It's like my mom, she hasn't been to the house since I started throwing all the tanks in it. And I think she has a fear, like if she came here, it would smell like a zoo. And it doesn't. Like, you know what I mean? It all the tanks have lids. We run our AC to the point where it's quite nipply in the house, and people might complain, but you go outside, play some basketball in the Florida sun, you come inside, it is incredible. So it's one of those things where the AC is kind of a dehumidifier for the house, but you definitely can't use any Febreze. But back then, if that issue was a problem or something like that, and I would have put in some Aquachar, maybe you can combat the Febreze issues by adding a little Aquachar. So
yeah,
I'm not suggesting you go and do this, but if your wife insists on using Febreze and you weren't able to keep shrimp before in the past, maybe try substituting some Aquachar. And like Brian said, it's something that lasts for the life of your tank, but you can take some out and put some in to cycle and keep that Febreze out of your tanks. Are we running behind on chat again? Okay, let's jump back in.
Dr. Anthony said he was. Oh, no, sorry. I skipped Jeff. So had to start a tank with yellow King Kong and raccoons. Just had a wild hair. What?
It's Jeffrey Brown for you.
SOL. Had to start a tank with yellow King Kong. Just had a wild hair from probably one of his dogs. Hopefully that didn't happen. Sorry if that happened, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah.
But he said they had a booth there, and they were right near the shrimp. So that's probably where I remember you from, maybe.
So
You've never done a talk for Tampa Aquarium Club? I swear I've met you more than once. And he was given Blizzard when I was a judge at Sips in Shanghai, November, right before COVID. My shrimp loved it.
Man, I want to go to Sips so badly. I want to enter shrimp in the contest there. How's it going, Matt?
How you doing, Matt? I am desperately trying to make you a mod. I can't seem to figure it out. It keeps saying that you don't exist for some reason.
Are you doing just Liquid Zoo, or are you doing Liquid Zoo
Yes, I've done
OnlyFans?
every single spelling of it, and it keeps saying that you don't exist on ours. And so I don't know what's stopping it.
She'll figure it out.
It's just going to take me some dedication. I don't know if you answered this. Shrimp Envy, do you shrimp Canada? Oh, there we go. Not via website. Hit us up on Facebook Messenger and we can get some to you.
So let me know if you're going to put an order, Robert. I'd like to cover one of the shrimp foods for Jamie.
And someone finally made it to a live after a few weeks of night shift. Welcome. Oh,
The jump were that bad.
Jamie said to boil some cinnamon bark, makes house smell amazing, and then you can put bark in your tank. Shrimp love to graze them. It's not a bad idea.
I'm not a big fan of cinnamon. When I was 12, I had to fly all the way to Hawaii all by myself, and I had a 4-hour layaway in Arizona, and the only thing to keep myself occupied was to go to Cinnabon, and I made myself sick, and I've never really liked cinnamon since.
But Justin said, you just clean, you don't cover up with the bad smell. I would agree. I really can't stand candles, Febreze, or anything. I have breathing problems now from the amount of cleaning products I've used when I was younger to clean the house. And let's just say, I don't think people realize how harmful spraying chemicals just straight into the air to make the house smell good is actually really bad for you. And you won't notice till it's becoming an issue.
Eat, sleep, breathe shrimp. Keep up the good work.
You skipped nipply?
Oh.
You can say ball sack, but you're going to skip nipply? Yes.
It's one of my favorite words. Yes. Oh. It's one of my favorite words because I am a wimp. When it drops below 60 degrees, I just try not to go outside. And then my buddy's like, oh, man, isn't it nice out today when we're playing golf in the morning? It's really nipply, I say. I'm like, oh, man. And then we start getting going on the golf cart, and I'm like, this is miserable. And he's like, oh, what? I'm like, it needs to warm up now.
My kids say 66 is puffy coat weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Florida. So 66 could be really hot, like beach weather in South Dakota, though.
And Ray runs his as 70 also, yeah.
Yep. I have to have a really nice fluffy blanket when I go to bed. He has like this thin one. I've got like 3 of them on me last night. I'm literally crying. It's cold.
Justin has a dog, reptiles, amphibians, fish tanks, and Just Cleans has an air purifier and bioactive enclosures. And all you got to do is clean.
I love the air purifier. I'm wanting to get one so bad. I want like 3 of them in the house. But I just love, we also have house plants. That also helps a lot. I'm trying to get bigger house plants, but finding the spot for them where a fish tank can go is a big battle.
Jason will probably release a video way before we get to it, but we just toured a local club member, and they had 40 foot of pothos vines around their small fish room.
I think that is,
and I mean, I say small, but this thing was jam packed with tanks. There's barely any room to turn around in. I got to give the guy props for getting all the water changes done with that little amount of work in, because I'd probably knock over a stand.
Question for you, Brian. Have you ever broken or cracked a tank while scaping?
Nope. I did I was walking into a show once, and I had one of those Mr. Like at shows, I usually have like a tank filled with Aquachar just so people can see it and see it's different and kind of explain it. So I was walking into a show and in Orlando, and I had a big cooler, like or one of those brute totes, and I had the tank on top of it, and I was kind of like pushing it along, going to my booth, and I hit one of those power cords, and the whole thing just flapped forward. So like
I remember
walking
that.
into the show, and it just shatters. Everyone was just like, "Ooh!" And,
Way to make an entrance.
No, you, Shelby, have
yeah,
you ever?
it's always fun to be the "Ooh, congratulations."
I've actually broken a tankscaping. Oh, you know those really thick to nearly scapers tanks? I actually had this really beautiful rainbow petrified wood, and I did this like really cool path this way, and it had this real cool colored sand. I was like trying to do something different. I mean, it's an ugly aquascape. I'll never show it. But it had easily maybe, I had to be like 30 to 40 pounds of rock, and they were stacked in a way, I guess, was putting too much pressure on the side of it and cracked it. And it was not good. Cracked the whole side of it. I mean, I actually didn't like drop or anything. It just couldn't take the amount of rock I put in there. So, you know what?
Never Tampa. I'm just the man of your dreams. Oh, Dr. Anthony.
That one took me too long to get. Oh, that's so funny.
Well, we definitely saw you in person then in Jersey.
Yeah.
I was just probably too busy with the shrimp contest. Shelby was probably too busy with her booth. And was it the same year we did the Aquascape contest also? So
2019, yes.
we were running around all over that show. Did we have the kids too? No, no kids.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't have kids for the last show in Jersey.
2019.
No, we didn't have kids.
We had pizza.
It was the first show we didn't have kids. Chance drove the whole ride.
2019 we didn't. 2018 then we did.
So Chance,
because the kids were sitting in the booth.
Chance drove us all the way there, and then he had to sadly fly home.
So on YouTube, right click my name, say add moderator. I can email you the other way if you want. But okay, that might be easier. Let me just try that real quick. But
we're on StreamYard's chat, so it doesn't have that option here. But maybe she can jump on.
I'll use water, a vinegar a lot of the time to clean. Oh, yeah. Good. He doesn't like the smell of vinegar, so I'm also out of luck there. So.
No. She likes pickles. I hate pickles. I hate them. I mean, I don't hate them. I'll eat fried pickles. Like Jason has never had fried pickles, and he wouldn't even try them. But I'll eat a fried pickle or two. But it's like I'm never going to go to the fridge and grab a pickle. I mean, I maybe did it a couple times as a kid, but I'm going to the fridge and I'm eating
anything. Should not be a thing, but good old dill pickle. That's the jam.
Mm-hmm. So Jamie said 60 is a heat wave to him. Told you. It's definitely beach time for them. Jeffrey says that, Brian, it doesn't look like a heart, maybe Mickey Mouse ears now.
I think he's working on it though.
Yeah.
He's getting.
What am I doing?
There's been a couple things where I wanted to adjust, but what?
Looks like Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh, it does. Yeah, but he was putting that other rock in.
Looks like Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just play around and do a heart just for fun right now.
And Thomas.
And once I get that done, I'll see if I can actually do anything to like make it better, type of thing.
We have lids on most of our tanks. Well, all of them except for like maybe a couple. We don't see a problem with humidity. No one's ever commented or said anything while they're here about humidity. And we're in Florida, so it's already humid, so it kind of matches.
And I've walked into a couple fish rooms where they're running dehumidifiers, and our room isn't as bad as theirs. And I think it's because our AC is so low, and then the lids. The lids definitely help. We got to a point where I thought the house was getting a little bit humid. Like Jaden's air conditioned vent was starting to condensate a little bit more than it should probably. So it was at that point where I was like, if I'm going to add any more tanks, for every tank I add, I need to add 2 lids so that way I catch up on everything. And yeah, we're finally at the point now where I got to make a order through Home Depot and buy probably 6 more sheets of plastic to make more lids.
David said, I tried Mark's peat in a canister and didn't think it through. Mess everywhere. Plus a leaky canister. Just threw it all away. Would you recommend another way to drop pH before a water change?
Oh, I don't ever even worry about it. I just let it sit overnight, and then the slow drip back into the tank. I don't think it's that much of an issue.
And Cryptkeeper said he's in New York. 66 is considered a heat wave here. Wow.
So the weird thing about New York was when we went to New Jersey and then took a bus into New York to Manhattan, everybody was freezing except for me. I was like, I don't even feel the air. There's no humidity in this.
Too bad.
I was going to say,
It was freezing. I took my jacket off, gave it to her, and I'm walking around New York in not short shorts, but shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt with no issues, eating an ice cream sandwich.
Justin said, yes, house plants, and I do some of my plants coming out of my tanks. That's where a lot of my plants are, because of course we don't have much room for them. Got some hanging around, but most of the time they're on lids on tanks or sticking in the tank, or both on it and sticking in. That's how they grow. Hello, Hydrospace.
And
Hey.
nothing.
Cryptkeeper said, here's a hack for you. Aquarium plants become house plants just by planting them inside the house. Problem solved. You can have your tanks and plants too. Yep, see, I just have house plants on the tanks and growing in the tanks, so I want them everywhere. But we do have a lot of aquarium plants outside too. Do you have something to add to that?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll
Hello.
be adding more house plants here and there. Just I want to get like different varieties, and I want to get them from Chance or like at the shows. I like to support people who are
growing
in our circle. Or Tron got some really nice plants. Shelby got her string of dolphins, and that's really taken off well. We won't talk about the pearls.
It's traumatizing. I don't kill plants, and when I do it, I did it horribly.
I think I saved the pearl though, so there's hope.
I killed it.
You killed my pearl too?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just killed that plant real fast. I did the dumbest thing. Thank you, Jamie. Escanor Q6R. What is the rarest shrimp that you have?
So we have a video on the rarest shrimp we have. It's a half-sider. We don't have that half-sider anymore, but we do have a different one. That half-sider lived for like 3 years, and then I was lucky enough to find one in our mixed pinto tank. So they are super rare, like 1 in a million shrimp. But if I had to say line of shrimp, the Hummel. I don't know anybody else in the United States that have the Hummel. And then our Super Princess Bee Mutants. Those are one of a kind. My black and yellow Yellow King Kong hybrids. Those are one of a kind.
Are we the only ones with the headless horseman?
No, other people. We sold some realies to people who got the headless horsemen off of those. So, they're not that rare. But yeah, the Hummel or the Mutants. Those are going to be the rarest for sure.
And Bree said, so I know that pickles would be on the menu if you come for a visit. Yeah, I'm excited. We're definitely going to have to visit because one of our good buddies lives up in Oregon as well. So, and we never get to see him. He's visited a couple times because his family's here. So It'd be cool.
And then like Chance is going to the Greater Washington Aquarium Society, so maybe we could do something up there.
Water, vinegar, and lemon juice. That's a good idea because the lemon juice would cover up the scent of the vinegar. It'll smell like my lemon stuff I used to clean. I can't say that word, but I definitely know, and it's one of the prettiest plants too, for sure.
Fidus.
Yeah, something around there. So David said, I did use a bag and powder went everywhere when I was doing it. Leaky canister, I just threw it out. I'll try again if I see a sale. My RO water is 6.5, so I'll just do my usual drip back slowly.
6.5 even is not even that bad, so I wouldn't worry about it. You can fill up the tank as fast as you can without disrupting the substrate. I honestly haven't even checked the pH of our RO water, so I've never worried about it. It's something that we will be doing. Now that Jason's gone, I think tomorrow we'll focus on editing and getting another weekly video out every week. So on top of the 2 live streams we're going to do, we're going to start trying to hammer. I got like 5 or 6 videos filmed, so Shelby's just got to put them together. I got to voice over them, so we just need time. And it's real difficult right now. The kids are swimming, so every day we're doing an hour of swim.
That's okay. I thought that's what I just got in
Oh,
a flower horn tank.
yeah.
I
So,
just got some of that the other day when we went to Mike's.
yep, we went to a new fish room that I've never been to, and the guy is super cool, and gave Shelby a clipping, and then we went back today. I made a little trade. I gave him some raccoon tiger shrimp and some yellow King Kongs in exchange for his orange neos. Now his orange neos, they are a new line of orange neo. They are quite electric in color. They're a much vibrant, brighter orange than the normal sun-kissed or pumpkin neos that are out on the market. He developed these lines from the 1 in like 100 to 1 in 1,000 green jade culls will come out like a bright electric orange. And I've never had the tank space to kind of dedicate, and I've never really had 2 at the same time. I only ever have 1, and it's one of those things like somebody buys some culls, it's in the net, I throw it in there just because I don't want to have to deal with wilds or having to deal with like lesser grade shrimp because I left the orange one in there. So I'm very picky on what shrimp get to stay in the greenhouse. And he worked on that line and they are solid. Like I told him, I was like, you get 5 of these that are, bigger than 3 centimeters and you are for sure on the podium for the shrimp contest. And I asked for 20 of them. We made a trade. So I brought home 20. I threw them into a tank down there, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get one of the tanks cleaned out outside and throw them outside because I want to mass produce those and get them out there because I think they're going to be a lot easier to do than the orange pumpkins, and they're going to be a lot popular. So getting them outside will definitely get their numbers up. And I even have some orange ones that I might keep on and do it online to see if it's consistent or if he got really lucky and had 2 of them go together and produce like that. But he is going to call them Orange Crush Neocaridina, and rightfully so. They are the right colored orange for it, and they are like a different line. It would be like a Bloody Mary version of the orange shrimp. So I got to give that to Mike and, let him take those out. But I did get my hands on some of those, and he did give Shelby some plant. I don't know where Shelby ran off to. I thought she was grabbing the plant. I don't know what she's doing now. David, I did use a bag, and powder went everywhere. Did we already do this? I felt like we already did that. Yeah. All right. So I'm down in Houston. I keep having to tell the wife to keep the AC lower to keep the humidity out of the house. Yeah. If the wife doesn't like it cold, maybe buy her some nice blankets. That's what I do for Shelby. She really loves her fluffy, nice blankets. So Dr. Anthony needs some free shrimp. I can definitely help you out with that. I don't know if I can get them to Peru, but when you come back to Cali, I can certainly send you some. And then the Nano Aquarium guy. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is offering new shrimp first to our members. And then another thing is we need to get like a members only discount code working through the website. I have to get that worked on because right now the website only lets us set up certain discount codes and then they're all stackable. And I do not want it to be to where you can go to every single YouTube channel that I've ever sent shrimp out to that I give them their own special code and then stack them all and be able to get, like 80-90% off all the shrimp. So I wanted to try and set it to where you could only maybe stack one or two of the different discount codes together, and then everybody have their own discount code, and I can keep track of, where the traffic's coming from and stuff like that, because I love working with different channels. Anybody that's going to put shrimp out on a platform, a stage, is going to help spread the hobby around and bring new people into the hobby. Where did you go?
To do laundry.
Oh, it is stream time, not laundry time.
We need clothes for tomorrow.
Oh, speak for yourself. I do not need clothes for tomorrow.
I know, because all your clothes are washed.
Naked day.
And then, so we got like 15 minutes left of this stream. I don't want to go over 2 hours. We've been quite busy. There's a private chat. Oh, Brian, I can't hear you. Oh, I should have looked at that sooner. We went like a whole 6 minutes in the beginning of the stream without us having a mic on. So that was great. But the final story of the night is Shelby had a very energetic and enthusiastic entrepreneur style employee come to her work and start working for her. The kid was very young. He was a sneakerhead. He was constantly, buying sneakers, flipping them, waiting in line at Foot Locker to get the new Jordans or whatever so he can keep a pair, sell a pair, whatever. But he was helping Shelby out, and Shelby was talking about her shrimp or something like that, and he looked into it, did a little research on his own. He's like, I want to do this also. And he wanted to do it from a profit aspect, and he dove in head first and basically went after my most expensive shrimp, and at the time were my fancy black tigers. I was selling those for like $55 a piece for medium to high grade, and I couldn't keep them in stock. They just were super nice, high quality. And he's like, listen, I want to buy 10 of your nicest ones, breed them out, and then I can sell them back to you, or, make my own clientele and stuff like that. I think this was before Facebook made their rule, so he would have been able to, post them on Facebook and dive into that and stuff like that. But he did get him going. His first shrimp tank, he was successful in breeding fancy tigers. He had a bunch of culls. I took the culls off of him, bought them for a cheap price. Then he sold like one or two groups of medium grades, and he definitely made, all of his money back in the tank. And then one day his mom decided that they were going to go to Disney World. And, how's that going to be tragic for shrimp? But she decided that she was going to go through and bug bomb the house. And, Shelby's employee, he knew that this was going to happen. He thought he was going to take the proper precautions. He took a trash bag over the tank, covered the entire tank so that way it was completely sealed off. And when he went to Disney, he unplugged the filter, so there's no circulation or anything like that going on in the tank. It was an air-driven sponge filter, so it would have been pulling the poison in and putting it in the tank if he hadn't turned it off. He covered everything up completely, and when he got home from Disney, he went in and checked the tank. It was the first thing he did. He was quite nervous about it. And he was invested at this point, not just like money-wise, but emotionally. He put some time into it. He was really enjoying it. I was getting pictures from him like, oh, look at this one. It's got a better pattern. Look at the new generation of babies I got, and so on and so on. He was really getting into it. And then he noticed there was just one dead one. And, you know, that can be expected, no big issues. He was prepared to come home and, you know, do a water change and take care of it if there was going to be anything like that. But it was just one dead one. So he went over, grabbed the net off the counter, went in, and took the dead shrimp out. Then, like 5 minutes later, noticed that the shrimp are acting lethargic, bouncing around, and swimming on their backs and stuff like that. So what happened was the shrimp net was left on the counter with all the poisons. So when they bug bombed, he covered the tank, but the net was left out. The net had a bunch of poison on it. When he stuck the net into the tank, it wiped out the entire shrimp tank. I didn't know what to do for the kid. I felt really bad. That was a hobby ending moment for him. He never got back in it. He was never interested in it again, and it, you know, wiped out everything he had. There was no saving it. If we had known about Aquachar before this event had happened, I could have driven over there. He lived like less than 10 minutes away. I could have thrown the Aquachar in the tank and it would have saved it. Because he messaged me within 5 minutes of the dead shrimp. And then like, oh, I netted it out. Now the shrimp are acting really bad. And he sent me a video. And I felt really bad. Like there was really nothing that we could do. I honestly thought that the poison had gotten in the tank. And if he didn't do an emergency water change, I brought the kid over some fresh RO water. And it just wasn't enough. The damage is already done.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Yep, thank you
I thought
guys.
you were going to say something.
No,
too.
I'm sorry.
I
I think both the Bloomfields are now members, so greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. To get really, do you wait for the mutation to happen and then isolate out, or is there a recipe? If you start with a cup of sugar and
so it depends on the shrimp. If you're trying to get a new really that hasn't been developed yet, then you have to wait for the mutation to happen. If you're trying to get the really on a pure line, like you want the skeleton keys and a blue bolt instead of like a golden bee or something like that, maybe you could do it. But a majority of the skeleton keys aren't actually pure golden bees. They're actually like from crosses trying to make steels and stuff like that. Then they get the broken pattern and then they try to breed out. But a lot of times what happens, especially in the Caridina and the skeleton keys, is that gap in the body will be translucent. But as they age and mature, that gap can fill in. And this will happen with the yellow King Kongs. And that's why when I breed them out, I really like to go for the Missouri, which is just the head color. Those tend to last clear the longest. No yawning. That is not allowed until after the stream. You're putting everyone to sleep. It's contagious. But oh man, if you're wanting to do realies and you're wanting to do Neocaridina, there are some crossing that you can do and not get wild type and still bring out the really. Like if you want to do carbon realies, you can cross maybe a blue really with some black diamond or blue diamond to get those out. But the red realies to get the blue bodies, you can cross those with blue dreams as well.
Could I get red bolts from Blue Bolt and Crystal Red Cross?
Yeah. So if the Crystal Reds are het for Taiwan B and they're Michelins, then yeah, out of F1 you can get red bolts. If the crystals don't though, then all of F1 should look like red crystals, black crystals, or golden bees. And it's super hard to tell the difference between a red bolt and a golden bee. They can both look exactly the same. So if they're not Michelins and they're just normal crystal shrimp, then probably you have golden bees in the tank. It's really hard to know exactly what it is. You can cross a golden bee with a Taiwan bee, and all of F1 will come out crystal shrimp. If you cross a red bolt with a Taiwan bee, and then all the babies will come out Taiwan bees. So you'll get a mix: red bolts, blue bolts, red King Kongs, black King Kong, shadow pandas, Misuras. So that's just some trial and error on figuring out what you have. Some frustration there, huh, Brian?
No, I'm just trying to get this little last, like you want that one perfect stone that fits in the spot, and it's just not working.
But you can't say no to the frustration. I heard the sigh. It was just as deep as anyone when Shelby notices I'm talking.
It's because I can't turn my AC on and it's getting hot in here.
Oh.
And we got to keep this safe for work. For the people watching tomorrow. All right, I think that's going to be good enough.
I mean, it looks great. Are you going to build up the side more on the right, or are you going to plant them?
Yeah, I was just working on the heart shape. See if I like the what it was coming out to.
What about that rock in the bottom where the point would be for the heart?
Yeah, I'm going to figure out this section right here.
Angle it from the right side downward.
Let's try this one.
All right, we got another question.
How many tanks do you need to breed shrimp?
So you just need one tank technically to breed shrimp, but if you want to line breed, I would say you need 3 tanks. 1 tank for culls, 1 tank for medium grade, 1 tank for high grade. And you want to sell your medium grades, keep your high grades. Your high grades are going to be your breeders. And then when you sell the medium grades, what happens is as you sell them as juvies, some of them will gain color, will gain stripes and markings and stuff like that. So when you're selling the medium grades as juvies, you're doing people justice because they're getting medium to high grade as they grow up, and they come from high grade lines. So that I suggest keeping 3 tanks, and then you can sell the lower grade ones as culls. And there's still a demand for that, but you mark them down at a cheaper price, and they're easier to sell and let go. But you can have many more. We have 10 tanks probably of tang tie, 10 tanks of fancy tigers, 10 tanks of different galaxy pintos, 10 tanks of green tigers in different varieties.
Hello, Water Wizard. Hey guys, is Aquachar a good substrate for Caridina shrimp? pH stable and all that?
Word on the streets is it's great. I have never used it before, but we just recently got 2 big old bags. I think there were 15 or 25 liter bags from a place locally down in Florida. We need more. It's one of those things where I'm thinking about making a trip down there and just filling up the bed of the truck with like a half pallet or something like that. Chance was talking about maybe meeting there, and like if we can get a good price on a pallet, then we split a pallet. He takes half home, I take the other half home. But we do have 9 tanks up top, 12 minus 2, 10 tanks up top, running with the Aquachar. We haven't tested any pH or anything like that, but it's highly recommended by several different shrimp breeders. And right now there is a shortage on aquasoil, so I thought it'd be a great time to try it out, especially if it's something that we can just drive down to a store locally in Florida. I think it was like a 2-hour drive, but there's quite a few things for us to do down there, so we can kill quite a few birds with one stone. Not something I recommend you doing these days, but it's a good metaphor still.
And it looks really pretty in the tanks.
Yeah, it's
you can't really see it all the time, but it's up there.
I really like the black substrates to be uniformed and stuff like that. Black isn't like that natural to me, where the brown, the ununiformed, and the different structured pellets and stuff like that, it looks more natural. It has a more pleasing effect for it. And then the ceramic rings, yeah, anything that you're going to add into the tank is going to add surface area, be a good source of biofilm and stuff to grow on it and whatnot. So we don't add them to our tanks. It's an eyesore. Me and Shelby are
Aquachar replaces it, and it's black like your substrate.
What?
Aquachar.
Oh, yeah.
Aquachar replaces it. Ceramic media.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't need the ceramic rings. Yeah, we use
ceramic rings?
Like the biomedia that just has
Oh.
the, yeah.
I was thinking of ceramic rings, like the ceramic rings that go around the water sprinklers, so you don't run them over.
Yeah, but also like they could be like little mini tunnels for the shrimp caves or stuff like that. But I would much rather do the Lucas Brett's method, where you make like a rock pile in the back of the tank. You could do that with some bigger pieces of Aquachar. And like Brian, maybe that's something we should carry, is the larger pieces of Aquachar and sell them as rock pile char kits in the back of the tanks.
Well, yeah, and for the shrimps, much 1 cup is 50 gallons.
Yeah.
Am I phrasing?
It
doesn't take much.
Yeah, we saw your belly.
Yeah, it was bad timing when you pulled your shirt up.
You're welcome. Anyways, you made me lose my train of thought.
No, just the rock piles. We can sell.
Oh, yeah. We can. Some of the larger stuff I actually pull out and stuff like that. It's good for shrimp tanks. Maybe just for an overall, just like a brick and stuff like that. The only issue, the reason why I haven't really pursued that is because it does float and people don't like it. But the cool thing with Aquachar is it actually interacts like with the air and it helps with your oxygenation and stability when it floats like that. But from my experience, most of the time, especially if people put it in a bag, it usually ends up sinking with like the most of it sinks within like a week or two.
So I know this is probably going to run us over the stream, but this is something like, have you done bamboo yet?
What's that?
Have you done bamboo Aquachar yet?
I don't need to.
No, you do need to, because how cool would it be to do bamboo Aquachar shrimp
with
cage?
the hole in it? Yeah. Chaz has actually asked me to do it, and it's just a matter of sourcing the bamboo. We can do it.
So
it's
if
just a
I
matter
went,
of sourcing it.
Oh, dude, I can get you bamboo for days.
It grows.
Yeah, well, let's find a place and set up and make it.
Oh man, the next time you come, if you're gonna talk to next month at our club, your car is going home filled with bamboo. But do you, and it's not the question of do I think you can talk for an hour, Brian? I know you can talk for an hour.
I know that. I just thought that was my public.
Do you have a prepared talk set for an hour talk? All right, get that done, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, Brian. Now just try and shorten it to 45 minutes so nobody falls asleep while we do the talk, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, because, so I have talks that I can do.
What's that?
Most of mine are prepared are for saltwater, so it's just a matter of transferring it over and explaining it from a different way and dumbing it down. It's more about getting people to understand the biological side. So, yeah.
We can't dumb it down too much, but because a lot of them have been in the fish hobby for quite some time.
Oh no! It's one of those. I expand in layers in onions where I explain basic stuff. I start off describing adsorption as the yellowing of the water and stuff like that, but I go more into the water dissipating and bouncing out surfaces that can actually like be a pull to that stuff in the water that's bad. So.
Yeah, because one of my biggest pet peeves when someone comes and does a talk, I really enjoy it, but I don't like people making it seem like we're all beginner fish keepers. like to the point where they're
Yeah.
like, do you know what tannins are?
It's gotta
And so it's
spread
like-
to all skill levels.
So
Yeah, so it's like you
one
gotta
thing-
be talking to the beginner and an expert at the same time, which is kind of difficult, I understand, but don't make it too stupid to where you make everyone feel like they're stupid.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I go at doing the one thing I learned from doing shows and having to give the same talk over and over and over again. It basically becomes I'm able to read the audience very well. So yeah, I mean, you saw a couple weeks ago I was talking about layers of soil in your you know, the biological breakdown of the different soil levels and stuff like that.
But yeah, Thomas says, I really admire you guys for doing this together. Couples need to do more stuff like this. And especially Shelby, you know, she doesn't get enough credit for what she does around here. And so her getting more involved in the live streams, you guys get to see that she is a good main chunk of the portion of the working gears that gets everything done around here. And then Big Dog, what type of bamboo do you have? We don't have any bamboo, but I know several people who have bamboo, and they always complain about having too much of it. I have a customer out on the beach who would have us come and take bamboo out every so often. So I know a few people I could reach out to and get some bamboo if we wanted to. But I think if we could get the right size bamboo, that would be really nice.
Yeah, my project that I'm working on is some air stones, but that's a whole different
Air
thing.
stones would be cool. You two always stream Wednesday at 10 now, as well as Monday stream. So our Monday stream at 9, that's going to be just us. 10 on Wednesdays is going to be a rotation between us and Chance over at his channel. And then we're also going to do some other things with Brian on his Instagram, and just get a couple things where, you know, the 4 of us can collaborate and do more things together, because magic happens when we get together. So we definitely acknowledge one another and work well with one another. So we've got plans, and we just need more time, really, is all we got to get done. So Chance wasn't able to stream tonight. He is flying early tomorrow morning to Washington. So we thought we'd just take over, keep the time slot going. So you can expect one of these channels, either ours or Chance Kramer, to be streaming 10 o'clock on Wednesdays.
All right, I didn't do too bad with the heart. I'll have some work to do, but
It looks better from this angle.
It looks better
for
now.
sure.
Yeah.
The other angle makes it look like Mickey Mouse, like that
Yeah.
one. So if you're looking at it from
there
that
you
way,
go.
yeah.
And I try to tell her that, but she doesn't want to listen. And like every time we go to do a video, I'm like, "Are you gonna do it?" And she's like, no, you do this one. And I'm like, the video.
The two of them for long enough. There's no Grant without Shelby.
And then
Small white worm in the soil.
it's obvious to me, but nobody gives her the credit. Too many people tell me thank you, or oh, great job, Grant, and it's both of us out here doing it. So I got to share the limelight a little bit better.
Especially when it's something I bred and gave someone, and they say thank you, Grant. Like, oh, I bred that. I gave that to you.
It's my name on the label. That's where the credit goes. You know, that's what happens.
Some people know when they get my fancy red pintos too that it came from me.
There's a small white white.
I think
you
it's
said
She
warm.
was the only one that was sitting there.
Warm.
She probably spent the most time with the hammer.
No.
That was
Grant
definitely
almost broke
me.
his hand.
I damaged the tip. I thought I lost the tip of my nail. I can't remember, but I went hammer time on that stuff for sure. And You know, I'm always worried that like one of these shows is gonna like charge Aquashella or one of these things for like floor damage repair. Like especially the Florida State Fair. I could definitely show you where I smashed the rocks last time. We lost them, but so the worms in your soil are not an issue unless they are. I don't know what you're hearing. I just hear the dogs. So if they have an arrowhead, they're a problem. If they're just like these little tiny things that look like Bronchosaurus rexes coming out of the water or the substrate, those are good. Little footworms are great. Just reduce the amount of food that you're feeding, and the other worms. It's just like if you have a couple of them, it's a sign of a really good ecosystem. If you have a ton of them, reduce the amount of food you're feeding, and they'll go away. But you'll never get rid of all of them. I like them. You gonna read? You want me to read?
I don't want to read these ones. They're
Well,
too
you know the
nice.
saying, behind every successful male is a woman who stops him from doing something stupid. She stopped me from doing many stupid things.
We're mutual on that.
If you click the join button, you'll help Grant buy out her day job.
I told him he's not even paying me now.
Listen, I'm not paying her, but I take her out to lunch every single day. Today, I was like, no, you just drive yourself to work today. I'm not going to do lunch. She got so sad. I was like, do it. I'll do it.
Well, because tomorrow and the next day, I can't go to lunch. I can't leave work. So it upsets me when the days you can't go to lunch that I can't go.
She went grocery shopping, so I was like, all right, I guess I'm eating at home today. It gets more work done. Hey, Sandy.
Jinx.
You owe me a soda.
I would say you owe me a cup, but I don't drink any.
All right, we'll wrap things up here. Maybe you got because I'm newer to your channel, but
Yeah.
I for sure see you is definitely equal part. Yeah,
There's no way Grant's equal. No, there's no way Grant's equal. Shelby's the brawn. Grant tries to be the brains.
He is. I can't remember that many shrimp if I studied it every single day. Trust me.
No, you guys are an awesome team. It's so much fun working with you guys. It's fun when we get to scape together. We all kind of flow together, and knows.
My job title is overseer of micromanaging.
He really is. Like,
no, you're moss fingers.
Get away because he micromanages me.
But so on YouTube, she probably gets a lot more credit. It's more like on Facebook, where we've been doing things for a long time, and it's just the same customers just telling me thank you.
Yeah,
never give her
I don't.
Credit.
A lot of people don't know who I am because most of the videos are of Grant. I do the videos. I take the videos of him. He's a lot more of a people person. I try, but I'm too nervous and I got a lot of insecurities trying to overcome them.
And she's also really working and comes home and she's really tired and just doesn't want to jump in front of a camera.
Hey,
so and she told me that I was all by myself tonight. So, and then she pops in. So,
but a big thing also is with Facebook, like I don't make posts. I barely make posts about the kids, let alone making posts about shrimp and things like that. I don't ever post anything. I'm lazy and don't think anyone cares.
I love that. Her husband.
See, I'm perfect. Thanks for the stream, Shelby, and her husband and Brian. So, social media is a lot to keep up with. Yeah, no, it is, and like we're really bad on YouTube. I really didn't start watching YouTube until I broke my ankle, and then I was like, I've got nothing to do. I can't do water changes. I can't cull shrimp. I can't work on lines. Actually, a lot of the lines have been slacking just because the ankle. So many things happen, and then I had some weird things pop up in certain tanks. So, but that's going to be all for tonight, guys. thank you, Brian, for jumping on with us. And
Yeah, anytime.
you know,
Thanks,
if
Brian. Your tank's looking good.
anybody
Nah,
has
not yet.
any
Just playing around
questions,
tonight. It was fun to actually get my arms in a tank and play with some rocks.
Mm-hmm.
but if anybody has any questions about the Aquachar, check out Brian or hit
Feel
up
free to reach
Brian
out to
on
me.
Instagram or on Facebook. But it's definitely a great product to have on hand in that medicine cabinet
And in your
for
tank,
sure.
so
and in tanks, because it's not just something that you can use as a medicine. You can use it as a prevention too. So, and hey, Jeff Kane, did we say hi?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. That's why I got Shelby to take care of everything. So, that being said, later, Brian. Take care, everyone.